The alert wasn't a call. It wasn't even a voicemail. Just a cold text from mom reading, "Do not attend. We need a conflict-free ceremony, instantly." My sister Camilla liked the message, acting as if my exclusion was a prize they had won. I gazed at my phone, sensing a silent fracture within my soul, the type that makes no noise but changes everything. So I replied, "Excellent decision." Right then, I ceased being their financial crutch. They were oblivious to the storm arriving. Before I reveal the full story, subscribe and comment, where are you watching Revenge Story podcasts from? I really wish that digital notification stunned me. But honestly, it simply validated a reality I had wasted decades pretending to ignore. My name is Elena, and within my household, I was never the cherished one. Not by a mile. I was the dependable one, the structured one, the girl who constantly arrived with solutions and a credit card. That became my designated function well before I was mature enough to realize I could select another path. To the public, we appeared pristine, almost ideal. My mother, Joyce, presented herself like royalty born to organize flawless galas. Her grin razor-edged enough to slice through tension. My father, Robert, floated through existence, silently stepping back whenever trouble surfaced. And then there was my sister, Camilla, gorgeous, worshipped, and perpetually absolved. When she entered a venue, crowds parted. When I entered, people handed me obligations. The odd part is, I didn't object for ages. I am a logistics director by profession. I adore spreadsheets, deadlines, and color-coded objectives. Order resonates with me. Humans not so often. So when the clan requested assistance orchestrating Camilla's nuptials, I agreed, exactly as I always did. It wasn't even a debate. I managed the down payments, the location logistics, the lighting crew.
And the banquet timelines.
Every invoice landed on my desk, and I cleared them without pausing. Not because Camilla earned it, but because my mother demanded it. There was only one soul who genuinely perceived me, my grandmother, Nana. She possessed a method of hearing that made minutes drag. In her glass sunroom behind the estate, she would prune orchids while teaching me that power isn't merely in what you endure, but also in what you decline to hold. I didn't grasp it then. I believed being resilient meant agreeing to everything. But approaching the ceremony, small incidents kept constricting around me like ropes an unseen enemy was tightening. Joyce would praise Camilla's selections, then glare at mine as if they were burdens. Robert kept stating how thankful Camilla was, even though Camilla hadn't thanked me once. And during a strategy session, when I proposed modifying the attendee list to suit the funds, Camilla didn't even glance up from her device. She just groaned and muttered, "Elena, can't you just fix it?" "You always do." That phrase lived in my gut for weeks. Still, I persevered. I visited Nana before every significant choice, letting the stillness of her sanctuary restore me. She felt that something was amiss, but I refused to worry her. She had already witnessed too much heartbreak in this lineage. On the morning that text arrived, the one banning me, I sat in my condo auditing the final transaction log. The sun from the glass caught the locket Nana had gifted me. A tiny gold charm she claimed symbolized resilience. Strange how resilience often arrives right before something shatters. That was the hour I understood I wasn't part of their festivity. I was merely financing it. And for the first time, that fact didn't sting. It grounded me. In the hours following that note, everything in our family group chat adopted a bizarre glow. Too joyous, too staged, as if they were enacting a variation of harmony that didn't involve me. That was the initial warning. The second arrived softly, almost masked as enthusiasm. Joyce declared she desired a wedding week, a sequence of preliminary parties to dazzle Camilla's future in-laws. She spoke casually, as if debating lunch spots, but her gaze darted toward Nana's retirement envelope resting on the sideboard. I froze. She attempted to hide it, but the motive was clear. They intended to raid Nana's savings. The modest sum she kept hidden for crises. The cash she guarded like holy soil. "Yea, Mom," I stated firmly. "But that is not what those funds are for." She blinked, seemingly baffled by my pitch. "Elena, stop being theatrical. Camilla is only marrying once." I turned to Camilla, praying for some indication. She grasped the gravity of what our mother was proposing, but she just shrugged, smoothing the hem of her new gown, the one I had silently purchased. "It's not a huge issue, Elle. Nana doesn't even touch that cash." My gut clenched. They had engineered this, or at least discussed it when I wasn't present. Why does betrayal always feel like a strategy? Later that week, I drove Nana to a gown fitting. She walked carefully but regally, her palm hot in mine. While she posed before the glass, brushing silk over her waist, she murmured, "I heard your mother whispering." They are arranging things without you. Her tone held that wavering fragility that only honesty bears. I gulped, unsure whether to confess what I already sensed. The seamstress summoned us before I could answer. 2 days later came the instant everything snapped into focus. I entered Joyce's parlor to deliver the completed schedule for the rehearsal feast. Camilla lay on the sofa with her mobile raised, her finger hovering over the group thread. "Oh," she uttered when she saw me. "Didn't know you were stopping by." Her voice wasn't aggressive. It was worse, indifferent. Joyce glanced at me. "We are finalizing the guest seating." Camilla discovered a superior arrangement than the one you emailed. Superior, not nicer, not more just. Simply superior because it originated from Camilla. Then Camilla's display lit up with my mother's text, the one that had banned me. Right there before me, her thumb pressed the tiny heart beside it. A single like. It made no noise, but something inside me produced a quiet, agonizing tear like brittle glass giving way. Camilla didn't even look up. She just locked her screen and muttered, "It is for the best, Elle. Everyone concurs. Everyone." I recall gazing at the pair of them, the atmosphere suddenly too dense to inhale. Nana's words repeated in my brain. "They are arranging things without you." This wasn't a confusion. This wasn't a lapse in wisdom. This was calculated, orchestrated, and executed with the same nonchalant malice someone employs when brushing off a fly. And in that second, I knew I wasn't facing a blunder. I was facing a plot. The evening after Camilla liked the message that deleted me, I sat isolated in my flat with the wedding accounts loaded on my computer. Row after row shined back at me. Hall deposits, lighting modifications, banquet plans, floral setups, all authorized, all funded by me. It appeared less like a gala and more like a spreadsheet recording my own removal. For decades, I convinced myself my kin didn't mean to exploit me, that I was aiding, that my backing made life smoother. But staring at those transactions, I finally viewed the reality. They weren't leaning on me. They were devouring me. My mobile vibrated once, a fresh notification in the family stream. Camilla again sent the revised seating chart. "Mom prefers my map instead. No please. No gratitude, no recognition of the nights." I had wasted constructing a all logistics plan that functioned. It was bizarre how rapidly malice can become routine. I shut the computer before I could doubt what came next. My fingers didn't tremble. My lungs didn't seize. It felt like something within me had gone dormant and precise. And I opened a direct chat to my mother and keyed 2 words. "Excellent decision." For a second, my image stared back at me from the black glass. Serene, collected, a woman who had finally walked out of a character she never selected. Then I typed the second phrase, the one they weren't anticipating. "Then you'll be free of my payments too." No justification, no rage, merely data. I pressed send. The stillness that ensued felt nearly divine. I opened my computer again, this time with intent. One by one, like removing bricks from a wall, I audited every contract linked to the affair. Catering, lighting crew, venue, coordination, design, rentals, every single deal was bound to my private bank. Every signature was under my identity. The power they had presumed was theirs had always been mine. I didn't need to debate them. I just needed to cease funding them. I emailed every vendor separately, citing contract clauses and deadlines. "We will not be proceeding. Please void the outstanding bill. Do not process further charges." I didn't reveal domestic feuds. This wasn't petty gossip. It was boundary enforcement, sterile and corporate. As I typed, a weird calm flooded the space. Not joy, not payback, just symmetry. Like I was finally behaving in a manner that suited the truth of what I sensed. Around midnight, I caught a faint tap on my entry. It was Nana. Her tiny silhouette seemed even slighter in the corridor glow. She walked inside and rested on my sofa, brushing her dress, the way she always did when she was summoning bravery. "I know they crushed you," she spoke softly, "but you don't have to haul them anymore." Her voice shook, and that more than anything cracked something open in me. My relatives had used her the same way, an afterthought, a reserve to be mined. She knew what it meant to cherish humans who didn't defend you. I grabbed her palm. "I'm done hauling them. Nana, I'm selecting us this time." She nodded, eyes glistening, not with grief, but with something like dignity. Before she departed, she murmured, "When they return home, we will be prepared." And for the first time in my existence, I trusted her. The dawn they were slated to arrive felt oddly still, like the town itself was pausing its breath. Nana sat at the breakfast island, creasing and smoothing the same cloth, her gaze wandering toward the glass every few moments. I steeped coffee just to keep my fingers busy, the vapor heating my skin as reality sank deeper into my torso. This was the date everything turned. I scanned my mobile one final time. No text from my clan, not even a polite alert about their landing. Of course not. As far as they were concerned, I didn't count unless they required a fix. But today they were going to require something else entirely. Are you certain you are set? Nana asked gently. I nodded, more than set. We reached the terminal sooner than required. Nana gripping my elbow as we marched through the concourse.
She didn't speak much,
but her nearness was the ballast I'd needed my entire journey, firm, kind, and real. Every stride felt like recovering territory I didn't know I'd surrendered. Our solicitor, Mr. Sterling, met us near the baggage exit. He was poised, sharp, the sort of man who made disorder feel sortable. He bowed to us before opening a binder. Everything is ready, he stated. We will pause until they leave baggage claim. They will likely engage you first. Be ready for that. Ready for their edition of the tale? I whispered. He gave a slight grin. Folks who rely on you rarely prepare to face a universe where you've ceased giving. Nana squeezed my fingers. A wave of emotion drew our focus to the automatic gates.
Travelers started pouring out with weary gaits and wrinkled outfits.
Then I spotted them, Joyce leading the pack, spine rigid, a look intense as if she'd returned from a victorious voyage. Camilla trailed closely, hauling an oversized bag. Julian walked behind her, face hidden in his device. For a brief beat, habit pulled at me. The ancient impulse to welcome them, to fix things, to remain small enough to preserve the quiet. But that version of me belonged to a history I no longer inhabited. My mother saw us first. Perplexity flashed across her visage, quickly swapped by annoyance. What are you doing here? She hissed, pulling her wrap tighter around her frame. You didn't need to fetch us. We already have a transport. We aren't here to fetch you, I said. Camilla rolled her eyes. Then what? You are here to apologize for destroying our wedding agenda. Nana inhaled sharply. Sterling stepped ahead before I could talk. Good morning. My name is Arthur Sterling. I represent Elena and her grandmother in a situation requiring your instant focus. The pigment vanished from my mother's cheeks. Camilla blinked fast, her torso heaving in shallow gasps. This must be a prank, Joyce said, faking a chuckle. A solicitor.
For what?
For the fiscal manipulation concerning wedding-related assets, Sterling answered flatly, passing her a packet, and the effort to access your mother's savings without approval. My mother grabbed the paper but didn't unfold it. We didn't manipulate anyone. Everything was settled. Elena offered to assist. She always does. That is the issue, I said softly. You anticipated it. Not because I desired to, but because you refused to view me as anything other than a fountain of answers. Camilla stepped towards me, thrusting a finger in my direction. You ditched your duties. You wrecked everything. All you had to do was remain out of the way. Remain out of the way, Nana repeated, her tone shaking but sturdy. You told her not to attend. You told my granddaughter she wasn't invited to a ceremony she funded. Camilla stumbled, her glare fading. My mother spun toward Nana. Mother, quit being hysterical. This is a private matter. No, Nana stated firmly, raising her jaw. Family doesn't discard one member to promote another. A group had started gathering behind us, commuters slowing to observe, whispering as friction thickened the breeze. My mother loathed spectacles. Her face reddened as she looked around as if public shame were somehow my error too. We didn't do anything illegal, Joyce stressed. You are warping this. Sterling opened another binder. These are duplicates of the chats sent to Elena, including the one removing her from the function. And this, he lifted another sheet, is proof of the wires she sent. I watched my mother's gaze jump from sheet to sheet, her teeth clenching. Then Sterling handed Camilla a distinct packet. What is this meant to be? Camilla asked, brow arched. Notification regarding the attempted diversion of your grandmother's crisis fund. Sterling answered, voice icy. An account Elena has been watching as she is the only relative who has never taken from it. Camilla gripped the letter like it might scorch her. Joyce turned back to me, voice shrill and cutting. Yeah, how dare you drag outsiders into our personal business? You made it personal when you shoved me out, I said, and made it legal when you tried to drain Nana's vault because you exhausted mine. Julian, who had stayed oddly mute, finally spoke. Look, can we all relax? This is getting blown out of scale. Blown out of scale, Nana repeated, how you urged Camilla to demand more cash. More help, luxuries she never worked for. Julian's jaw locked. That is not stop. Camilla snapped at him. And just quit talking. Something within her seemed to collapse. Her shoulders dropped, her arrogance leaking away in slow, aching pulses. She looked less like the sparkling bride she'd imagined herself as, and more like a toddler caught doing something greedy. My mother's palm trembled as she pushed the papers back at Sterling. "We can repair this. Just tell us what you desire, Elena." I took a breath, stable and absolute. "I want you to comprehend that I am finished," I said. "I'm finished being your backup plan. Finished paying for mistakes you never grow from. Finished faking we are a tribe when you treat me like a glitch." Silence hung between us, massive and crushing. Then Camilla whispered, "So you're penalizing us." I shook my head. "No, I am defending myself." Sterling stepped in again. "There are protocols you will need to respect. You will have to answer these claims within the listed window. And until this issue is settled, you are not allowed to access the grandmother's ledgers." Joyce finally unsealed the packet. Her eyes read the first sentence and her face fell, terror replacing outrage. This could get us in legal peril," she whispered. "It already did," Nana replied. My mother looked between us, her poise melting. "Elena, please, we are kin." I met her stare with a clarity I had gained the rough way. Kin is supposed to shield each other, not just themselves. For the first time in my journey, she didn't have a retort. Julian shifted awkwardly. Camilla wiped her face, blurring her makeup. Robert, who had remained mute until now, finally moved ahead. "I am sorry, Elle," he said gently. "We should have done better." It was the nearest thing to a pardon I'd ever heard from him. I nodded, taking the words without letting them justify anything. Sterling collected his files. "We are finished here." Nana took my elbow again, her hold firm. As we turned to exit, my mother shouted after me, "Elena, what are we expected to do now?" I paused long enough to meet her gaze. "Figure it out," I said. The same way you expected me to." And with that, I marched away, not out of rage, but out of liberty. The first genuine liberty I'd felt in decades. In the months that followed, everything aligned the way truth always does. Silently, but forever. The claims Sterling filed moved ahead, and for the first time, there were actual fences around Nana's wealth. No more loans, no more coercion masked as family custom. The fund was safe, and so was she. I visited her more frequently after that. We would sit in her glass sunroom while she pruned orchids the same way she had when I was a kid. But this time she didn't look weary. She looked brighter, as if she'd been holding her breath for ages without knowing it. The wedding agenda dissolved almost instantly. Vendors mailed proofs of voided contracts. Texts drifted into my mobile, some furious, some shamed, some agonizingly mute. I didn't reply to any of them, not out of malice, but because there was nothing left of voice. One afternoon, Nana rested a palm over mine. "You rescued both of us," she whispered. But I didn't feel like a hero. I felt like someone finally walking into her own existence. So I applied for a volunteer role at a regional advocacy group that aided older citizens, souls like Nana, who merit defense long before anyone notices they require it. For once, I wasn't managing disorder. I was selecting a mission. Looking back, I used to think affection meant hauling everything for the folks who claimed they required me. But real love, the kind that mends instead of exhausts, never asks you to vanish so others can dazzle. My family's actions didn't define me. My boundaries did. And walking away wasn't the death of something shattered. It was the birth of something honest. If this story resonates with you, share your experience in the comments. Tell me where you're listening from and make sure to subscribe so you never miss the next.